Good morning, Warren County. Yesterday was Tennessee's 224th birthday. Even though there may be much to celebrate, there's also much to consider in the months ahead as the COVID-19 crisis continues. These certainly are extraordinary times when proven leadership does matter. Today we are joined by Tennessee Tourism Commissioner Ezell, who heads up Governor Lee's Economic Recovery Group. You may best know him as the Purity Dairy family. The Got Mustache pledge and creation was his in a marketing of the new milk for Purity. Last week, we introduced the Tennessee Pledge posters when Governor was joining us on the last week's program, where we talked about what the Tennessee Pledge was and the importance of following those guidelines. So today we welcome Commissioner Ezell to give us some updates and share information about the Tennessee Pledge. Good morning, Commissioner Ezell. This is County Executive Jimmy Haley. So we want to welcome you to the BLTV live stream program this morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
We are surviving. I'm sure you are as well.
Yes, it's been a challenging time for all Tennesseans.
It certainly has.
Everybody across our nation.
So we welcome you today, and we thought we would invite you to do a little explaining about what the Tennessee Pledge is and the importance of cooperating with that pledge.
Sure can. Really, I got a call from the governor in mid-April and was asked to help lead up the Economic Recovery Group. With the good news for Tennesseans was that our health information was showing that the Tennesseans had done a great job working with the Unified Command, with Governor Lee, the health department, a lot of our local leaders in helping mitigate the spread of COVID-19. And because of that, because we had some real success in making sure that the projections that were planned for Tennessee did not happen to the level that they thought would happen. But then we also had another front on the economic devastation to people's livelihoods, with the fact that our economy had to be shut down in order to be trying to stop the spread. So that's when the governor said, our health information says that we are ready to try to reopen the economy. And so we stood up the Economic Recovery Group. The purpose of that group was, how do we get to open back up businesses with safety as our number one priority, but allow people to get jobs back and businesses open to where we can start stimulating our economy again. And that's why we created the Economic Recovery Group. So, and that's our purpose is, and what we've done then over the last many weeks, we created the Tennessee Pledge. The Tennessee Pledge was a set of guidelines and that businesses could participate in, that if they took the guidelines and adhered to those guidelines around sanitation, around checking temperatures and screening for their employees and possibly for customers, for having their employees wear masks when they're around other folks, and then honoring social distancing, that we could open back up businesses in a safe enough manner to allow people to get jobs back and the recovery of the economy to begin, and also still keep COVID-19 at bay. And that was our purpose, and that's what Tennessee Pledge is all about. And so we have created guidelines for all the different industries, and we were the second state in America to allow restaurants to begin dine-in services at a 50% capacity, and we did that starting on April 27th. And since then, we have continued to open up all types of industries, including close contact, including gymnasiums, retail, and other key small recreation, non-contact. And then a week and a half ago, we opened up our large attractions at a limited capacity.
Last week we introduced the Tennessee Pledge posters and decals. You want to say a little something about the posters and decals and what role the chamber may play and how we're supposed to use those posters to promote the pledge?
Absolutely, and it was really important to the governor that the Tennessee Pledge would be a guidelines program and not a mandate. We do believe that marketplace forces are always the most important motivation for businesses. We know that businesses naturally care deeply about the safety of their employees, and we know that businesses care about taking care of customer safety also, because they want those customers to continue to come back. So the creation of the posters and the stickers and the static clings were really to allow businesses, and we've been so pleased at the number of businesses who have said, I can do those following steps. I can do the social distancing. I can have my people wear masks when they're in close proximity to folks. I can do the extra sanitation and provide hand sanitizer, those steps that the Tennessee Pledge is doing. And when they do that, then they can put that poster up that says, we're doing this, and that helps an employee feel safer and ready and willing to be at work in that safe environment. And then we believe it's an effective customer marketing tool, because we know visitors and consumers want to be visiting places and buying goods from places that are trying to do things that have their safety and interest. And so the posters are a key part of that we've now rolled out, where people can show the world and their employees we're trying to do things the right way, and we've volunteered to take this Tennessee Pledge and to put consumers and coworkers' safety at the key number one priority.
In reference to the masks, of course, they're being distributed through our health departments and across the state. There's been a little controversy attached to them, and some people have politicized the masks, and it's really done a disservice to the efforts of your group and the governor. So would you like to speak on the context of the masks?
Yeah, well, and certainly the governor's decision with unified command was highly supported by those in those early days with the economic recovery group to try to answer the question if Tennesseans said, well, we don't have a mask, and so the spirit in which the 5 million masks were purchased with federal COVID-19 money was that we know mask wearing is a one of the key ways to contain the spread of COVID-19. And so the purchase of those 5 million masks to get out to people free was one of the, I guess, few states, if any states, that wanted to provide those for people. And I know there's been some question about the particular filming on the mask that is being run down, and we've been in contact with them and think they're ready to show their studies of how that is a product that they've been using for other safe consumer face touching kinds of materials, and so we look to get that resolved, but that's really with other people than us, with the RenPro folks and the health departments and those other groups that are working on that. But the idea of wearing masks, and in fact we're about to introduce some additional mask opportunities around certain brands across Tennessee that the governor will be talking about later this week that we're excited about. What we know is if people can socially distance, wear masks, do the sanitation, then they have a much more likelihood of limiting COVID-19 spread in their community. And that's why we want the economy to be open, and if we can open it safely, then people will be able to be working on both battlefronts, the economic battlefront and getting jobs back, and the COVID-19 of not letting this disease spread and be damaging to Tennesseans.
Thank you on that as well. Locally we have tried to encourage as many people to wear masks and follow the guidelines. And like you said, they are not mandates. They are guidelines and recommendations to people to do the right thing. We do have a few businesses that have disregarded the guidelines, and we've got a few citizens and residents have done the same thing. Could you share some words of encouragement to those people who are doing the right thing and following the guidelines, and the businesses that are out there trying to follow as closely as possible what you and the governor's team has requested us to do?
Absolutely. First of all, I'd just say thank you. It takes courage to do the right things. My granddaddy used to tell me, and I know in your area, a lot of folks there grew up being purity lovers, and what we are grateful for is the number of businesses who have stepped up and said, you know what, we're going to spend the extra money to provide extra hand sanitizer for our customers, or we are going to screen and buy a touchless thermometer, or we're going to ask the screening questions for our employees every day because we don't want someone here sick. So thank you for doing that. What we hope is that there are a lot of consumers. We know as the travel world opens up, there's a whole lot of visitors to communities who are worried and anxious about where the place they go, will it be a place that's safe for them and their families. And so we believe the Tennessee Pledge is the way of showing this is a safe place. And so what we hope is that those businesses that are doing the right thing can be patronized by more people, because those people are appreciative that they are taking extra measures for their community's safety. And those who are not doing that, you know, it is a free country, and this is not a mandate. People get to do that. But why wouldn't you want to take the steps in social distancing, in mask wearing when close to people, in sanitation measures, is our plea. If we do the right things, then, I mean, what we follow every day is COVID-19 continues to take lives in Tennessee, and we continue to have hundreds of cases a day. Now that we've opened back up the economy, the key is going to be that we've done that and still have an adherence to those key CDC guidelines. So thanks to those who are doing it, and to those who are not, we sure wish you could realize that COVID-19 is real, and it does affect communities and people that live in those communities. And doing these extra measures, we hope can be not harmful to your business, but can be ways that you're showing how your business is caring about the community.
And thank you for those words of encouragement. As Commissioner of Tourism, what do you see in the future for tourism and the hospitality industry that's been hit so hard by the COVID crisis?
Yes, I think, you know, what we are coming back, and we're already seeing that as, you know, now we've been able to open both small attractions and large attractions at, again, social distancing, limiting capacities, but allowing those businesses to get back in. What we're seeing is that there are a lot of folks who are coming to Tennessee because international travel is not available for people, and Tennessee happens to be a great drive-in market, and Tennessee also happens to have amazing outdoor assets, which, again, many people are drawn to, you know, being able to be in the outdoors and the fresh air and feel like that's a better environment than indoor facilities. So we are very bullish on Tennessee's ability to capture visitors. So what we want to do is, how do we do that safely? So our communication messages to the visitor community, and we are just starting to ramp those up in a slow and methodical phased-in approach that says, come to Tennessee where you can come and enjoy Tennessee safely. And so we feel like a lot of that marketplace will return, especially for a lot of our communities, our smaller communities that are not built around the massive size events that social distancing is harder. They are built around experiences, especially small town experiences, and getting to be around the outdoor assets that we have. And your community is clearly one of those that has got some beautiful places to experience. along with friendly people. And we believe you can be friendly with eyes out of a mask and communicating hi y'all and all those kinds of things. And then when you're not as close to them, give them those Southern hospitality smiles and make people feel welcome.
And thank you for that. As a community, we've worked very hard to market ourselves and rebrand ourselves and to diversify so that we could cash in on some of our natural resources and the ability to attract people as, for a day trip or weekend trip from the larger cities or from the surrounding states. And so we have been blessed with the numbers of tourists that have come here and to our state park as well. One question that I got sent to me to ask was, what happens if there's another upsurge in this crisis? What's next, and what will the ERG and the governor's next steps be to contain the virus if there is another resurgence maybe later on in the year or in early winter?
Well, it's hard to know about the future, especially the further away that we get as we deal with this pandemic and how society is going to react over the months. What I can tell you on the immediate basis and the upcoming months are, here's a couple of things we know that are success. The biggest one we know that is a success is if people will regularly test. And it doesn't take, I got tested a week and a half ago, and it took about 4 minutes from the time I pulled into the site all the way to the time I was out of the site. And it's free. And we know that testing, and Tennessee has been the leader in the Southeast. We've tested more people per capita than any state in the entire Southeast. We think it's a key to why Tennessee's had so few deaths per capita compared to other dense states. So one of the first things we say is people will follow the Tennessee Pledge and then test whenever they want to. And that means, that we test after a large event, or we've got an event coming up and we set up a testing that day, and 3 days later we are able to at least know, where's COVID-19. So testing is really a key strategy moving forward that our health departments are doing. And then the second part of this is how do we be surgical in the way we deal with outbreaks? And I think that's what you're going to see. The governor really feels strongly, and we agree with Unified Command and with ERG, that when there's a problem or when there's an outbreak or when there's an issue, we'll deal with that community and try to get to the reason why there was an outbreak and deal with that. So it's our plan to be more surgical than shotgun in the way we approach potential outbreaks and potential rise in cases. And again, we're going to continue to, that's why the Tennessee Pledge is so important. If people will take the normal steps, and by the normal, I'm talking about the new normal Tennessee Pledge steps, we think we can keep case count to where our hospital surges can contain and can be capable of handling the COVID-19. So I think what we know about the future is that we'll react in a surgical way, trying not to have to affect a lot of businesses, but trying to deal with, hey, where's our problem? And where was the breakdown in sanitation or in social distancing? And how do we deal with that in that local community and allow businesses to remain open will be the strategy moving forward.
And thank you on that as well. I know Executive Order 38 covers a lot of reopening events and guidelines. We still have a lot of questions locally about what's the next phase, what's the next step, what about big concert venues? Our county fair draws tens of thousands of people, and that's scheduled for September. We have 4th of July fireworks and events all across the community. We've got people playing in tractor pools and street festivals. So any suggestions or guidelines or any reference to any of those, or when a few more guidelines may cover some of those events?
Yes, I think you're going to see fairs in general and some of those large venue kind of pieces, or you're going to see more guidance over the upcoming week or even days. here's our feelings. We are not going to say that something can't be held. What we are going to say is that we are hoping that people will be responsible when they hold something, and that what we've seen is a great responsibility now that those people whose events are so big that they know they can't do social distancing and they have great fear of what can happen with COVID-19 would simply say we can't do that event. Those who can do the event but do it differently for the 2020 year, and hopefully we'll have a vaccine before 2021, are doing it in a way that can still honor social distancing by having groups that have separation, with each other, and that we can. So a street festival that might have been really, really crowded, or a fair event that might have been, or a tractor pull. We might say, could there be 2 nights of a tractor pull, and instead of 3,000 people packing out a facility, could you have 1,000 people that night, and then the next night do another, set of rounds, so that those 1,000 people can be socially distanced, or there can be proper kinds of measures with the Tennessee Pledge that allow us to do events. Or maybe it's a festival. We've talked to several people who want to do a 4th of July, but they've said, you know what, we're going to actually shoot off fireworks in 2 places at the same time. And we're going to spread out the event, and we're going to actually try to encourage people to maybe stay in their cars or stay in their family unit and watch it, separated from being right next to somebody else. That's, to us, when we get a win, because the economy and the community got to do the event that they wanted to do, but we honored the CDC and the social distancing, and in the, even encouraging people when they're around folks, put that mask back on, and things like the petting zoo, we might say, the petting zoo is a bad idea to do with 3,000 people touching the same animal that they could sneeze on, and then somebody else could touch that. Or is there a way to sell bottled water instead of, a water fountain? Those are the kinds of things that you see in the guidelines that are trying to, and then there might be some events that need to just get smaller for 1 year. And is there a way to do that? Is the kinds of things. But we're going to let people be making their responsible choices, and then providing guidelines that says this is the safest way to do that event.
And thank you. We'll be looking for some more guidance on that. I know the governor's been diligently working toward reopening everything, getting back to normal, and I know he's dependent upon his unified command and you and the ERG quite a bit for guidance and input from others across the state. So we thank you for that leadership.
You're sure welcome, and thank y'all for really doing this today, and honestly, you've been such a blessing to our state in so many ways, whether it's been tourism or now these kinds of efforts where it is so challenging, that we face a new normal, and trying to do that without affecting in a bad way Tennesseans, and yet getting jobs back and trying to have some normalcy. And so I just want to say thank you for what you're doing, and it's been an honor to get on the phone and talk to you. And on behalf of the governor and all the team, we appreciate what you're doing.
Well, thank you very much. Have you got any other closing words or something that you want to share as a parting statement?
Well, just that we are grateful for the way people are taking these extra measures and these steps. And we have seen the devastation of COVID-19, and we've seen the job losses, and certainly as Commissioner of Tourism, I've seen firsthand the loss of jobs in the restaurant and hotel and attractions business. And so we are anxious to get those back. We just got to figure out how to do those without allowing there to be a devastating increase in cases. And so, if in doubt, if people can put on a mask when they're up close with people, if in doubt, people can have more distance between them and others and participate in the Tennessee Pledge. And, God bless America. America's having to go through one of its most difficult times in its nation's history. And fortunately, Tennesseans are strong, and we are trying to do the right thing. So it's an honor to be a part of this at this time, even though it's been a sad time and a grieving time. And we look forward to better days. As Dolly says, better days are ahead, and we know that's true for Tennessee.
Thank you for joining us today, Commissioner, and your Chief of Staff. I know Sammy's been working hard to keep you in line and keep you focused and directed, so we thank him as well. So you got an amazing team, and we appreciate our ability to give input and to have a voice in some of the decisions that have been made. So we want to thank you and the governor and all the staff members for all that you've done over the last 3 months to make it a little bit easier on us in Warren County. So thank you very much, and I'll stay in touch.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So we want to thank Commissioner Ezell for joining us today. And just to remember that our COVID count for Warren County is 26, and surrounding counties and the state numbers continue to grow. This crisis is not over yet, as the Commissioner alluded to. Don't let your guard down. Use the CDC guidelines. Wear the mask. Sanitize your hands. Keep it clean. That unseen enemy is still amongst us. And what we do now to protect our community protects us in the future. And it will allow for a quicker return to normalcy. The health department is still doing testing. They are doing Monday through Friday. Their hours have been scaled back. The National Guard has been sent to other communities now to assist them in testing. But Monday through Friday from 9 to 11 at the health department. It is free drive-through testing. And so Commissioner Ezell and the governor still recommend as many people to continue to be tested. And if you've been tested once, you can be tested again in order to make sure that you are COVID-free. So today we have with us Mayor Ben Newman from the city of McMinnville, and we also have Dale Humphrey from St. Thomas Ascension River Park Hospital to give some updates there as well.
Thank you, Executive Haley. I'm Ben Newman, Mayor of McMinnville, Tennessee. I'd like to thank Ben Lomond Connect, PEG Broadcasting, the Southern Standard, WCPI, for being here today to broadcast out this message. Before getting into the city's reopening plans, I would like to thank the McMinnville Police Department, the McMinnville Sheriff's, or the Warren County Sheriff's Department, and the Tennessee Highway Patrol. They put together a coordinated effort and plan that went off extremely well, skillfully and professionally yesterday during a heartfelt demonstration in downtown McMinnville yesterday. In a very heated time in America, McMinnville showed that our citizens, our police force, and other law enforcement agencies can allow people to exercise their First Amendment right, which is a very important right, granted to us by the founding fathers of our nation. And these people did it in a peaceful and respectful way, and we thank them for doing that, and thank our law enforcement officers for helping keep them safe and keep the streets peaceful. The things that happened to George Floyd were awful and shouldn't happen to anyone. Our McMinnville Police Department will make sure to continue to show that that won't happen here, and our officers won't do that to anyone. So again, thank you to our officers for keeping the streets safe, peaceful. We had no other issues last night after the peaceful demonstration, and those folks left and went home. There is no more curfew. The curfew ended at 6 a.m. this morning. The curfew is not in effect tonight. So June 2nd, there is no curfew, and things are back to normal on that front. Now moving on to the reopening of city properties and events. The Gilly Pool will be opening June 13th at 10 a.m. We're limiting the pool to 200 people. That's to help us keep the Governor's Tennessee Pledge in place to exercise social distancing so that people can enjoy activities but do it safely. The time slots that we'll have will be 2 time slots. One time slot will begin at 10 a.m., end at 2 p.m. Then our lifeguards and staff at the pool will clean as well as they can, and then the other time slot will open up at 2:30 until 6:30. So it's 2 4-hour time slots. The entry is $5, and it's Warren County residents only. So adults, please bring your ID. If you have children coming with you, it would be helpful if they have their student ID. We will not be providing chairs this year due to safety concerns, and we encourage you to bring your own chair if you wish. You can bring a towel, lay on the ground. We'll have spaces that should be designated out for family units to stay together, but socially distanced from other family units. Concessions will be provided on a limited basis, meaning we just don't have everything that we've had in the past. And we're trying to provide that in a safe way as well. Showers will be closed and the slides will be closed. It's too difficult for us to clean the handrails on the slides, and also the smaller slide is quite difficult to clean that as well. So we're just going to keep those closed for the time being. We're still looking for lifeguards. We're paying $8.50 an hour, so if you know someone who's interested, please come out. It's been difficult to fill this year, but we're hoping that we get enough applicants with the pool being announced that it's open. So please apply and encourage others to apply. Up, except for soccer. The Governor Lee has still closed the close contact sports such as soccer, basketball, and football. We have refunded the soccer fees for the league, so those should be coming to you. If they haven't already, they should be coming to you soon for those who've already signed up and paid for soccer. Baseball and softball, we're still contacting people to see if they want to keep their money with us and have the fall leagues open up. I guess not fall leagues, but summer leagues. Should be starting in July. Once we contact all of our sponsors, coaches, umpires, and scorekeepers, we should have a very good league this year. We are still looking for sponsors. That's extremely important. If you've been a sponsor in the past, please do so again and encourage others to do the same thing. Same thing for coaches. You know, this is the volunteer state. I've said that many times during these addresses, and we need our volunteers. We need our coaches to come out and lead these young people and show them how to be good sports. Please visit the city website at mcminnvilletn.gov. You can find applications to become a lifeguard, and you can also find out some more information about what's going on within the city. The Civic Center is open with restrictions as far as classes. Please call ahead if you wish to work out. We're limiting that to 1-hour slots for the Wellness Center, and then some of our classes are still going on as well. The Pepper Branch bathroom is now open. That's a huge thing for our community and for visitors that come and use the park down there, put in for kayaking, and use the park for picnicking and other things as well. I would like to remind people that June 20th at noon, we're having the ceremony for the naming of our tennis court complex and one of the tennis courts after Mr. Dunlap and his grandson. So please come out for that. There's a whole tournament sponsored by Security Federal and others. Tournament is June 18th, 19th, and 20th, and then we'll do the naming of the tennis complex and court that on the 20th. Our lobby at City Hall is now open with limited people at a time. And the City 4th of July celebration will continue with social distancing practices put in place. As that gets a little bit closer, we'll have more details, but we're still having the 4th of July fireworks on July 3rd, and then the celebration that will take place downtown, again with social distancing practices in place. So thanks again to our police department, Sheriff, Tennessee Highway Patrol yesterday did an excellent job. And if you see an officer, please thank them too. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Mayor Newman and Executive Haley. I'm Dale Humphrey, the CEO at St. Thomas River Park Hospital, and we're going to give you some new COVID-19 updates. Statewide testing numbers in Tennessee, as mentioned earlier, continue to grow, and we've tested over 448,000 people. There have been 23,554 positive cases so far. 1,767 patients have been hospitalized, and 15,564 have thankfully recovered. In Warren County, 26 patients have tested positive, 15 have already recovered, and we have no deaths in Warren County, so we're grateful for that. And currently we've tested 1,746 of our fellow citizens through the health department and other means. St. Thomas Health continues to encourage those of you who have delayed getting care to seek treatment. Delaying your care can be very detrimental to your health, and experts agree that it's important for you to go into your physician's office for checkups and other health-related appointments. We do not want people to die or suffer harm due to fear of COVID-19. We will continue to offer virtual visits as well as opening up more of our capabilities within the facility. At St. Thomas River Park, our volumes are growing, and we performed 239 surgeries in May, and we've already got 156 surgeries scheduled so far in June. While remaining diligent, we've also relaxed our visitation policy to allow up to 2 visitors per patient per day for non-COVID positive patients or the patients that are under investigation. These visitors must visit one at a time and can only enter the facility once per day. Visiting hours are from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and we continue to make exceptions for patients in labor, patients at end of life, or those arriving for surgery. One visitor is also allowed in the emergency department. All persons will be screened upon entry and are required to wear a mask for the duration of their visit. Anyone failing to maintain proper masking will be asked to leave the facility. St. Thomas Health has also signed an agreement with Cigna Local Plus and will be considered in-network for the 55,000 state of Tennessee employees, which should greatly improve access to quality health care for all the communities that we're blessed to serve. From a national perspective, as our volumes are returning to normal and associates have returned to work, Ascension Health has been able to end our pay continuation practice for our staff of caregivers. During this time, Ascension has paid over $3.4 million to 2,888 associates. On a call Friday with our national leaders, they revealed that their 2 main objectives during this crisis were to take care of patients and take care of our associates to the best of their ability. Ascension is also currently involved in over 30 clinical studies for treatments to COVID-19. Please know that we stand ready and able to take care of you safely and compassionately, and may God bless you during this time. Thank you.
Once again, Warren County government's essential services will continue as usual. My courthouse will be operating under the guidelines and directions of Supreme Court Justice Bivens, and public access will be limited until further notice. My administration building will once again be Tuesday and Thursdays by appointment. But if you've got questions or information that needs to be shared with any director or elected official, please call their offices. I'll be meeting with my safety coordinator, David Britton, along with my cabinet level officers this Wednesday to put a full plan into place for reopening of county buildings and the providing of services to the general public and access to buildings. In the meantime, we encourage each and every one to follow those guidelines that we have specified today and just cooperate as a community. I want to leave some parting thoughts with you. As Mayor Newman alluded to earlier, we had some events downtown that at first created some anxiety amongst elected officials. But to quote Martin Luther King, a riot is the language of the unheard. Last evening, our community faced another challenge besides the COVID crisis: how to preserve the rights of peaceful protest and enforce law and order under the threat of potential violence. I want to commend all the protesters who were there for respecting property and conducting themselves in an orderly fashion. What could have been an ugly incident was avoided. City and county law enforcement acted quickly to ensure the safety and security of all the people present and all the businesses downtown. Mayor Newman acted accordingly with an act of emergency and curfew. We had personnel in place to protect each and every one. And as alluded to, it is a First Amendment right for peaceful protest. Our local law enforcement officers and our state troopers are exceptional in their service each and every day, and their professionalism showed last night. What happened in Minneapolis should never happen anywhere. We all recognize that, and the law enforcement there that was last night also recognized it. Our hearts do go out to the family of George Floyd and all the others who have died through excessive force by any means. I am confident that justice will be served, but in no way is violence an end to a means. Discord and dissension divides us all. That's not who we are as Americans. That's not who we are as Tennesseans. That's not who we are as Warren Countyans. If there ever is a doubt, remember the pledge that we take as Americans. We are one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As a nation, we've come a long way from civil war to civil rights, but we've not come far enough, or there wouldn't continue to be incidents that has torn our nation apart. To leave you with a quote from Martin Luther King that I use quite regularly, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Thank you, Warren County, for your cooperation and support. Together we do build a better tomorrow for all of us. We are Warren County strong. Thank you.